I of course went into this episode with very low expectations. I knew that nothing out of the ordinary or significant would happen, and while I was hoping that Roy would catch Frigibax, I was quite sure that this wouldn't happen. Since I wasn't hoping for much, I wasn't exactly disappointed. The episode was basically, for the most part, exactly what I knew full well it would be. Roy did not catch Frigibax, and the episode was just fun, cute, and chill. Pun intended. An enjoyable cool-down, wind-down episode after a battle and before another battle. So it was fine, really. It's just that as usual, there's not much you can say for episodes like this. It's difficult to have a lot to say, or a lot of positive things to say, when the episode was just alright, and nothing important happened. I will say though that I do love what they did with Roy and Fuecoco. It was obvious that this would be an episode for them, an episode meant to set the stage and build up for the important battle they have coming up. However, I didn't expect that they would have such sweet and heartfelt interactions that really elevated their bond beautifully. This gave the episode a lot more value and it made it feel more meaningful. Throw in several hilarious moments and you get an episode that was quite delightful. So let's dive deeper into this episode to analyze it further. But before we do, what exactly happened in this episode? Let's recap. In this episode, Liko and friends gear up for the cold that they will have to endure in their journey to Montenevera, which they soon embark on. Almost immediately, they spot a Bergmite eating berries nearby. Liko's Pokédex states that Bergmite tended to get into fights with Frigibax, something that comes into play right away when Fuecoco eats some berries too, only for snow to fall on him, which makes him look like a Frigibax, triggering Bergmite. Coincidentally, an actual Frigibax soon shows up to feel Bergmite's wrath alongside Fuecoco. Refusing to take the beating lying down, Frigibax fights back. The two of them get into a heated scuffle that leads into a clash of blizzards that covers the area and everyone in snow. While Fuecoco and Quaxwell both try to stop them, they can't. However, Hattrem soon intervenes with her favorite method for conflict resolution. She brutally beats them up with Brutal Swing and she then heals them with Heal Pulse. Bergmite and Frigibax walk away, no longer interested in fighting, or maybe just terrified of Hattrem. With the crisis resolved, Liko and friends continue their journey. They soon stumble upon a frozen lake. Led by Roy, everyone decides to have fun here. They skate on the ice, make a Captain Pikachu snowman, eat marshmallows, and make snow angels. Roy and Fuecoco soon find a Cubchoo that they take an interest in, something that its parent, a Beartic, does not like. Hoping to pacify it, Quaxwell hits it with Liquidation and Floragato blinds it with Magical Leaf, allowing everyone to run away. At which point they spot a nearby cabin where they decide to take shelter. While Roy marvels at pictures of everything he and Fuecoco have been through together, Liko and Dot realize that they still have a long way to go before they reach their destination. So they decide to stay in the cabin for the night. They will resume their journey in the morning. Since it's already extremely cold and it's bound to get colder at night, they decide that they needed to gather firewood to stay warm. To this end, they split up. Roy, Kilowattrel, and Fuecoco successfully gather a bunch of firewood. However, to find more, Fuecoco accidentally separates from the group. Noticing the disappearance of his partner, Roy has Kilowattrel search the skies while he searches on land. Fuecoco sadly loses the firewood he did his best to gather. He then realizes that he is lost, prompting him to search desperately for Roy. Meanwhile, Liko and Dot return to the cabin with plenty of firewood, and they both wonder where Roy is, considering that it's almost nighttime. Roy and Fuecoco search for each other frantically to no avail. They even miss each other since a pile of snow covers Fuecoco just as Roy turns around. Hilariously though, Fuecoco's likeness to Frigibax comes into play once more when Roy spots who he thinks is Fuecoco but just turns out to be Frigibax. Eventually, just as Roy is about to give up the search, he realizes that Fuecoco is probably just as scared and cold as he is. This motivates him to keep going. Fuecoco meanwhile goes through the same thing. The two of them get the same idea to sing in order to pump themselves up so they can continue their search. This inadvertently ends up being exactly what they need, since their singing echoes through the forest, allowing them to find each other. Their reunion is a heartfelt and emotional affair, with Kilowatro soon joining them delighted. As they make their way back to the cabin, they once again find Cupchew and Frigibax. Since Beartick is nearby, they decide to leave the area fast. However, Bergmite appears, worried that it's going to get into a fight with Frigibax again, causing a commotion that they definitely don't need when they are trying to sneak away. Roy gets the idea to throw a reverse Uno card at the gag that has been played throughout the episode. If Fuecoco can resemble Frigibax, then Frigibax can resemble Fuecoco. Using his scarf and a stick, Roy disguises it. Despite the quality of the disguise, Bergmite is fooled. However, hilariously, snow soon falls on Fuecoco and now he resembles Frigibax. Thankfully though, he sneezes, which makes him look like Cupchew instead. So, crisis averted, especially since Beartick chooses to play nice this time. Roy soon reaches the cabin. Liko and Dot wonder what happened. Roy tells them exactly what went down, which leaves them understandably perplexed. A sentiment Roy himself mirrors when he realizes that he forgot the firewood. Thankfully, Liko and Dot got enough for them to sleep comfortably and warm through the night. We see here that Roy fell asleep while looking at pictures of his journey again. His phone is still on with a picture that he took with Frigibax and the others, revealing that they ended up having a merry good time. In the morning, they resume their journey, and the episode ends with Roy saying to Fuecoco that their test is coming up, but he feels that together, they can do anything. Now I want to begin by saying that yes, Roy did not catch Frigibax, which again is something that I hoped would happen, but I knew it wasn't going to, so I'm not too disappointed. At least we got to see Frigibax in the anime, and I really like the running gag of it and Fuecoco being interchangeable, because they really do look alike. I have to say though that this episode made me realize a flaw that Pokémon Horizons has when compared to previous series as far as new Pokémon go, which is to say Pokémon that make their debut in the anime. They are not given as much screen time as before, nor is the quality of what little focus they do get up to par. In previous series, when a Pokémon made their debut in the anime, their name wasn't the title of the given episode and they were around for almost the entire episode, playing a key role in it. In fact, whatever the story or plot of the episode was, said Pokemon was at the root of it, and they often ended up bonding with Ash or one of his friends or with all of them, making each and every one of these Pokemon feel like meaningful characters. This is in stark contrast to what Horizons has been doing with the debuting Pokemon. Not only are they not included in the title, but for the most part they are incidental to the story instead of being the main attraction, which unfortunately leaves their first appearance in the anime feeling lackluster. This is probably not that big of a deal since at the end of the day, the main characters themselves and their story and relationships with their Pokemon should be the focus. meaning that perhaps not having a wild Pokemon steal the spotlight is the right choice. However, I cannot help but feel just a little disappointed when we finally get certain Pokemon to make an anime appearance, only to have them be underutilized, which is what has happened in Horizons for the most part. This is, however, a minor complaint, and it's probably a personal one. Do let me know in the comments below if you perhaps feel the same way. Moving on to the focus of the episode, I like what they did with Roy and Fuecoco. Yes, we didn't really need an episode to drive home the fact that they are very good friends and that their bond is instrumental to their progression as characters. But it was still nice to see, especially since they made their reunion so heartfelt and emotional. It was just touching to see. It honestly reminded me of Ash and Pikachu, which is always a good thing. I love that their mutual love for singing was woven into the narrative, since not only is this fitting for Fuecoco and it is what brought them together in the first place, but it's also something that will be key in their upcoming battle. So yeah, I like this part of the episode very much. I think it did a good job of being both preamble and setup for what is certainly going to be their most important battle thus far. Beyond this, there really isn't much more I can say. The episode was undeniably funny. I already mentioned the Frigibax and Fuecoco switcheroo, which was always hilarious. Quaxwell constantly recommending dancing in order to combat the cold was also funny, and Roy and Dot's initial choice of attire for their journey also got a chuckle out of me. This episode was just chill and fun the whole way through. I also appreciate the detail of showing how Roy has been carefully capturing each precious moment in their journey. Not only is this simply a sweet thing to do since it means that he is preserving such valuable memories, but also because this fits with the tendency of modern Pokemon games to give us more and more ways to document our journey and adventures with our favorite pocket monsters. So yeah, overall this episode was just fine. As I've said many times in the past, episodes like this are okay every now and then. Even if they don't provide much that we can discuss, analyze, etc., nor do they really thrill or excite us, they can still be fun and enjoyable, which is ultimately part of the reason why we are even watching anime to begin with. It only becomes a problem when episodes like these become the majority of what we get. But considering that we are coming off a battle and going into another one, I think that we can let an episode like this slide, especially since it set the stage for what's coming in a marvelous, fitting, and touching way. While Frigibax could have done more, I'm still glad we got to see it and it was at least put to hilarious use. But that's the review and the video. Please let me know what you think of this episode in the comments below, and click on the links on screen now to see my reviews of the previous 3 episodes. I will see you over there. Thank you so very much for watching.